All righty, good afternoon. I've gotten the signal that we're good in broadcasting. The time is now 1:02. We're coming out of recess from the morning session to consider one land use item. Amanda, could you call the roll, please? Thank you. And Amanda, if you hear us drifting off our mics, please tell us to speak louder or speak into the mic. For those that are here and those that might be participating remotely, we're just, as always, we recognize the governor's mask mandate is in effect. There are both requirements and exemptions. Most of the exemptions are personal in nature, but there's some functional ones like those that are speaking in public or those that are speaking in broadcast, which covers quite a few people in the room today. So with that, I would accept a motion to open public hearing on case number RZ 20-0055.
I'll make a motion. We open the hearing for RZ-20-0055.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor to open public hearing, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We're in public hearing. Jen, the floor is yours.
Afternoon, everybody. So yes, this is the Ricky rezone, case number RZ 20-0055. It's a request to rezone approximately 35 acres from agriculture to agricultural residential. The landowner is Bruce Ricky, who is acting as the legal authority on behalf of the Ricky No. 3 Family Limited Partnership, and they are represented by Tom Maroney. As I mentioned, it's 35 acres located about 4 miles south of the town of Elizabeth at 29684-1721. Their pre-app meeting was on July 23rd of 2020, August 27th of 2020. Their first and only referral process was September 25th, and they were originally scheduled for Planning Commission on December 1st, but required re-notification. The planning took place on January 5th of 2021, which meant we rescheduled the BOCC from December 23rd to January 27th. On January 27th, we requested a continuance to a date certain, which is today, February 24th. The site is generally flat with some rolling hills. It does have some erosion that runs from west to northeast through the property. Despite the erosion due to runoff, there are no mapped floodplains in the project area. There are also no wetlands mapped, but there appears to be an intermittent riverine area that's associated with extreme rain events, but no south of the east edge of Elizabeth. So on the right, you can see the zoning map. The development of Arrowhead is to the northeast, about 2.5 miles away. To the west and west-northwest, we have Wild Point and Chisholm, which are the two largest in that direction, from 2.5 to 4 miles. So our rezone is focusing on some specifics at this point. The process for this application was somewhat drawn out in that the Rickies didn't officially own the property at the time of application. It was in agreement with the Hamiltons that they would proceed with this project. So we called out a couple of notes on the rezone to emphasize the importance of what we're seeing. So primarily the drainage, again, the historic flow and runoff will be maintained. All applications for building permits in the future will be approved by CDS to maintain that drainage. Lot 1 will have to obtain a separate access point off 1721 so that the Hamiltons at the east end of the property can maintain their current address, which means that lots 2 and 3 will be accessed from the existing driveway for the Hamiltons. The referral process was pretty extensive, sent it to all Elbert County offices. The Elizabeth Fire Protection District, School District, IREA, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, New Star Logistics, Phillips 66 were the entities that responded to the referral. The Colorado Division of Water is highlighted because while there is no response during referral, it was an active part of it came off the screen, sorry. It was an active effort at the time of application that they were getting their water plan in place. So Health and Human Services just requires that they do pull a permit at the time of building permit, and soils testing may or may not be required. Engineering, again, may or may not be required. The assessor has stated that 3 lots at most can be accessed off a private drive. That's part of the larger conversation in terms of allowing the Hamiltons to have their address in place. So the change was made via email and has been included in the packet for this meeting that 1 lot will access 1721 while the remainder access the existing driveway. The Elizabeth Fire Protection District has no issues. They require fire flow, which will be paid in cash in lieu, and the drive access will have to meet county standards for emergency access. And the applicant recognizes the requirements and accepts that the fees will be due as part of the minor plat process, which is taking place concurrently. Elizabeth School District also has residential fees and improvement fees. Applicant accepts the fees will be due as part of the minor plat as well. IREA wanted to enforce the overhead lines and the easements that are related to them. Those have been filled in on the exhibits. No objection from Fish and Wildlife or New Star or Phillips 66. Now, Colorado Division of Water did not send us a response as part of the referral process, but arbitration was taking place during the time of the referral. Attached in your packet is the referee's judgment on water, which is currently open for comment. The comment period actually ends today, so a judge's ruling should be happening any day now. At the end of the comment period, judge will sign the official ruling. The case number is 2020CW3112. And Community and Development Services wanted to restate that open space cash and lieu fees in the amount of 10% of the sale price will be due at the time of sale for each lot. And those fees were accepted by the applicant. The rezone criteria from Article 3C4 of the Elbert County zoning regulations lists review criteria A through F for all rezone requests, and those 6 criteria are as follows. Whether the proposed rezoning conforms to and is generally consistent with the goals and policies of the Elbert County Comprehensive Plan, whether the proposed rezoning is compatible with surrounding land uses, whether the proposed rezoning would adversely impact the provision of public services, whether the proposed rezoning would adversely impact the environment, whether the proposed rezoning would create unreasonable traffic congestion or burden the existing road system without improvements, and whether the proposed rezoning would not otherwise be detrimental to the health, safety, or welfare of the present or future inhabitants of Elbert County. Staff has found that the following based on the Elbert County Comprehensive Plan. So the land use goals for residential development outlined on page 55 states, Elbert County supports residential development by encouraging a range of lot sizes and residential densities associated with available roads and infrastructure, and by encouraging the designation of open space and the preservation of areas of visual, historic, and natural consequence. Policy RD1 states that new residential development should cover all costs of on and off-site roads and utilities required to meet the associated demands of that development. Transportation policy TR1 states new development is encouraged to locate proximate to improved arterial roads or such roads that should be provided by the developer. Policy RD2 states to preserve open space and preserve the rural character of Elbert County. Clustered residential development patterns are encouraged on lands within 1 mile of paved roads and existing utility corridors where they exist and within the 3-mile service and or influence area of county towns. The staff evaluation is that this site is located on the existing north-south thoroughfare of County Road 1721, thus fulfilling the goal of policy TR1. The existing driveway will be constructed to county standards and will provide access to lots 2 and 3 while still serving the Hamilton residents. This complies with policy RD1. Approval of this rezone to agricultural residential would allow the landowner to subdivide this property into a total of 3 lots per the Elbert County residential development goals. Existing more significant developments in the area include the town of Elizabeth, Arrowhead, Chisholm, Bluebird, and Lonesome Dove, as we saw on the zoning map. So based on Article 3C4 of the Elbert County zoning regulations, staff finds the following: that the proposal is in general conformance of the Elbert County Comprehensive Plan. The proposal meets the criteria for approval in the Elbert County zoning regulations. The Elbert County subdivision regulations are not applicable to the rezoning application. The proposal is compatible with existing and allowable land uses in the surrounding area, and this proposal will not result in significant impact to the health, safety, and welfare of the residents and landowners of the surrounding area. So staff recommends the Board of County Commissioners approve the rezone of Ricky RZ 200055, subject to the following conditions. You will note that these conditions are slightly different than those presented during the Planning Commission meeting. It was my mistake that I actually added the conditions that will apply to the subdivision to this list. This is the rezone conditions list. The applicant will be required to remove the public hearing sign within 7 days of approval of the Board of County Commissioners. The rezone shall not become effective until all fees are paid, conditions of approval are met, and the rezone exhibit is recorded. Recordation of all appropriate documentation is to occur within 180 days of Board of County Commissioners approval. And a court-approved copy of case number 2020CW3112 regarding underground water rights and an augmentation plan must be recorded prior to recordation of the rezone exhibit. And thank you very much for your time.
Do you have any questions for staff?
No.
Okay. Just one, I think we got the transfer of ownership documents, just, I think Thursday or Monday in our boxes. If we can make sure that's part of the minutes for the meeting, since.
Absolutely. Yep.
Appreciate that. That, I'd turn it over to the applicant rep.
Hope it's your fault. Is that better? Okay.
Thank you.
Tom Maroney, P.O. Box 902, Elizabeth, Colorado. And I do live in that P.O. Box, okay? Just for the record. I have nothing else to add. Staff did a great job on this. They're very thorough. You know, because of COVID, it's been taking the state a lot longer to finish these decrees. But as was stated by Jen, I think that actually that's going to be signed by the judge today. And so we'll have that to record. The referee already signed it. So it's a 21-day referral period or objection period, which of course there was no objections. So everything else is pretty much done. I'll answer any questions you may have. I just think that, I do want to say one thing. I really have to thank everybody in here, especially you guys over here. And it's really nice to see finally that the different departments in the county are communicating and making this like a little bit better to deal with. The assessor's office especially. Before it was nothing, and then I'd have to come back and ask you guys for something. But we looked at everything, so I think it's great. So, and this is a family deal, pretty much. I mean, Bruce Ricky, he's here. He's gonna be building a house for his daughter, and we'll see what happens in the future with the rest of them. But I live a quarter mile from here. It doesn't bother me. So I'll answer any questions.
Okay. You have any questions or comments?
I don't have any.
No, like I said, this was relatively straightforward. I assume the subdivision piece is moving along.
Yeah, it's concurrent.
Yeah.
Right, Christina? I mean, it's pretty much concurrent with this on an administrative process, and we've submitted everything for that. So I think it's going to be tomorrow, something like that, right?
Yeah, I believe the date that and Christina's checking right now, I believe the date we have set for the administrative decision is tomorrow.
Right. So, yeah, everything's in on it. So we're all, I mean,
So when the motion's made, do I pronounce that Richie or Ricky?
Ricky,
Okay.
thank you.
No, appreciate it. So at this point, I'd open up for public comment. Amanda, my understanding is we've got nobody that submitted to have public comment made over the phone, and we received no email comment. Thank you. Seeing none present, and I think Mr. Maroney mentioned he was a neighbor and had no objection, so hearing no other objections, I will close public comment at this time. And if there's any final comments or motion, I'd accept them.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the Ricky RZ-20-0055A rezone of 35 acres as submitted, assuming that the applicant will accept the conditions of approval.
Yes, sir, the applicant accepts the conditions.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. You're very welcome. I'd accept a motion to close public hearing on this item.
I'll make a motion, we close public hearing on Ricky RZ-20-0055.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to close public hearing on this item. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. I'd accept a motion to adjourn for the day.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. We're adjourned. Thank you.